So I've heard that the logo for Sonic Movie 4 was announced, which is really cool. So while we wait for the 4th film to come out, I thought it would be a fun idea to theorize for the 5th film. And so, here is my idea for the Sonic Movie 5. Now this is a bit of a, bit jumping on early, but yeah. One thing I will say in the character arcs is it will be about Sonic learning to kind of, I suppose, his actions have consequences. As we've seen from when I did my 4 idea video, he destroyed the Time Stone, which had a massive effect on what's going to be happening in the plot. But without further ado, let's dive right into this. Our story begins 200 years into the future, as we see the planet is completely in ruins, covered in lava with buildings all sticking out. We would see a hedgehog flying around, seeing it all around. As it looks around, it comments on how things have been going, and how time itself used to be a good place. All of this was once a peaceful place. This used to be his home. Now, it's just a graveyard, with only a couple of things left to actually keep him alive and company. However, it used to be a different place. It used to be a thriving, futuristic city, where man and animal coexisted together. A future like no other. Within 200 years, it was revolutionary. But something changed, and it all changed forever. Silver then hears a voice telling him to come towards him. As he senses something, as he goes over, he notices something, but he notices a crack in the ground, a crack of purple energy. As he touches it, it causes a massive kind of black hole to activate. And just as he's about to get sucked in, a mysterious hand closes this black hole. And Silver ultimately bows down, saying, "Thank you, Master. Is there something you need?" Before Silver looks up, we would see the mysterious voice. The voice tells him no, but he has sensed it too. Silver asks what on earth was that, and the voice tells him that that was a black hole, a time hole. They're riddled everywhere. Well anyway, the creature, who's the Time Eater by the way, tells Silver that he has sensed something that he's not sensed before. The Time Stone. To which Silver says that that's just a myth. My ancestors used to guard them. Created them. But the Time Eater tells him that that is all wrong. And that something has happened that has not only caused this future, but the future of others at stake. Silver asks how? Who could have done such a mess like this? Especially towards, well, a future of a world. It would have to be like a criminal or a mastermind of evil. The Time Eater tells Silver to shush, as he has an idea. He opens up a small portal and looks through it to find who is responsible for this. And suddenly, he shows Silver what he wants to see. Instead of telling, he shows Silver. He mentions how he's been alive since the beginning of time itself. And I know everything there ever is, even how the universe will be destroyed. Before he then puts Silver's head into the hole, showing what happened. It shows, of course, the iconic time stone that was found on Earth by the other half of the time stone that was located on Earth, on little planets. As it starts to glow ominously, Silver is shocked to believe it. But then it changes to show Dr. Robotnik finding the other half on a planet called Palm Tree Panic. And of course the side effects that came along with it, which included his return to Earth, and of course when he turned into Miracle Robotnik, and the events that followed. Of course, all of that happened, and then we can see Sonic grabbing the Time Stone and completely destroying it, using his energy to manipulate it, transforming into Miracle Sonic, altering everything back to normal, but at the same time, using it to save Tom and Maddie's life. And, in other words, abusing the Time Stone, and with enough energy, he destroys it, sending it, just shattering it into pieces. This causes Silver to be outraged by this. Not only did he destroy it that caused his future, but the future of others. And he says that he wished that there was a way to alter this, to fix the future once and for all so that they wouldn't have to deal with this, and that Silver would actually have company once and for all. The Time Eater tells him there is a way that they can do this. With his time traveling powers, they can go back in time and kill the Hedgehog before he ever did it, before he alters the future too much after the Time Stone's destruction. But there's a catch, he tells Silver. He mentions that he can't go as he's, too weak to go through, as it will take a large amount of energy, but he needs the Chaos Emeralds to be more stronger. If Silver can obtain them and bring them here, then he can enter Earth. Silver agrees, and he tells Silver that the Time Eater tells Silver that he will be in contact. Do not fail his mission, as he will only get one shot at doing this. Silver says that he will. And the Time Eater opens up a portal, and Silver jumps on through, cueing the intro to Sonic Movie 5. We would then open up with a skiing resort area, kind of referencing Ice Cap in a way, where we would see Sonic, Tails and Knuckles, snowboarding or skiing down a mountain to see who would get there first. We would see Sonic being as cocky as ever, in fact, really cocky, as he not only outsmarts Tails, Knuckles at the same time, but he not only ends up just trying to win against them. Tails uses a gadget to fire out snowballs at Sonic. Knuckles tries to pick up a massive boulder and crush Sonic, but he's too quick to avoid that. And then, of course, Tails is taken out by a tree. Knuckles is kind of left behind, and Sonic's throwing, of course, snowballs at everyone, catching them all off guard, while laughing at this, as if he's having so much fun. And while this is going on, however, Knuckles manages to catch up to Sonic. As he lands down below, catching him off, he warns Sonic of something ahead, but Sonic's too cocky, and doesn't in fact listen. However, when Sonic turns around, he sees a whole bunch of badniks waiting for him on the other side. Sonic is surprised to see a whole bunch of Robotnik tech here, but he did know that Robotnik did have still an empire on Earth of all of his drones and badniks guarding. And Knuckles, of course, he jumps into the equation to help out. But one of the badniks fires a missile and causes it to clash into a mountain, sending an avalanche crashing down. Amy is down below with Tom and Maddie, as she's mostly drinking tea. She doesn't want any snow in her quilts, or on her boots at least. Tom and Maddie would look up and see Sonic and, well, they'll admit that they're doing their normal thing, having fun and just, well, being, well, brothers in a way. But Sonic is a bit struggling, as not only has he caused a massive avalanche, but the whole thing's coming down, with Tails and Knuckles following after. Tom is not happy with Sonic. He knows that Sonic wants to have a bit of fun, but he knows that he needs to take responsibility for what happened. Sonic agrees, and everyone else goes to have some fun. Meanwhile, in an underground GUN HQ, we would see a bunch of guards overlooking a weird project. According to the files, this is actually a prototype time machine that they're working on. A kind of energy that would bring up the same kind of energy used for warp rings. And as we would see the guards, well, guarding it, one of them notices the alarm going off. And as they try to hack in to see what's going on, suddenly their controls begin glitching out, with everything overloading and the system being hacked completely, with a suspicious looking logo that the guards recognize. As the then the ring portal opens up, and the guards instantly jump into action. They begin firing everything at the portal without any sort of guess. They then contact Commander Walters. Walters is surprised and admits that there might be another alien coming to Earth. That must mean that they should contact Team Dark. Walters picks up the phone. Meanwhile, Shadow is driving on his bike round the city, and Walters calls him to tell him to go to the base. Shadow complies and heads there, with Rouge and Omega following after. As the trio land into the area, they find not only the portal opening with a white hedgehog stepping out. And this is where Shadow meets Silver. The two of them would have a couple of lines going back and forth, with Omega declaring to destroy this imposter, and Rouge being surprised about another hedgehog. And this would lead to a cool, awesome battle, where we would see Silver completely annihilate some parts. He would rip open parts of the wall, using them as weapons to slam against Team Dark. Shadow does get a couple of good hits in, but Silver does overpower Shadow, sending him crashing into a window up there. And Silver, well, he uses his telekinesis and flies off. With that out, Shadow, Rouge and Omega decide to pursue Silver to track him down. However, Gun tells them to stay behind as there might be evidence on what's going on, it being the commander's orders. And Shadow reluctantly agrees, as he's not a fan of just standing around and wants to pursue it. But Rouge manages to convince him to stay. And we see Omega simply just pushing things back up, and even just placing things back down again. Fixing things, basically. It would then cut to Tom, Maddie, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, as well as Amy. They're all having a kind of games night, playing all sorts of different games to see who could be like a legend or something. And we would see how how they all very good communicate with each other, which is very fun to see. However, it gets interrupted when a car is thrown through the Wachowskis' house. Silver appears, grabbing Sonic and throws him into the forest. Tails and Knuckles pursue to fight off Silver, but he holds them at bay. With Sonic held, Silver declares that this is it, the one that he's been searching for. Sonic is confused on what's going on and asks who on earth is he, to which he replies his name is Silver, and he is the one responsible for his future. To which instantly, Sonic says he doesn't know. Before he manages to kick Silver, catching him off guard, and Knuckles grabs Silver's feet and throws him outwards, causing him to crash into a mountain. Just then, Silver notices GUN vehicles showing up, and he flies off, being annoyed that he not only failed to grab them, but is even more annoyed that he couldn't actually get them. Just then, Tom would get a call from Wade telling him that there's a bunch of GUN vehicles coming. Especially they're all in the streets, from tanks to cars to, well, basically anything. Even a helicopter shows up. And as the helicopter lands in front of the Wachowski house, none other than Captain Randall steps out, as he then orders the Wachowskis to stay down. He then talks to Sonic, saying that Commander Walters requests their presence now. To which Sonic states that he didn't do anything. Or did he? All he did was just destroy the Time Stone. But Randall bites back by saying it's not what you did, it's what you've done that's caused such a problem. And with that, Sonic tells Knuckles and Amy all board on the gun helicopter, with Tom and Maddie watching from above, fearing about something of what's going to happen. But Tom is ensuring that Sonic will make the good decisions in the end, and be a good hero. Same with Maddie, she thinks that as well. Meanwhile, Sonic, Tails and Knuckles meet up with Walters, who is not happy to see them. He's mostly annoyed with Sonic for not giving them the Time Stone to put under safe custody. However, Sonic bites back, telling him that this Time Stone was too dangerous to control. But Walters tells him that it deserves to be under human property to keep it under control. But Knuckles tells him that he's not worthy to hold that stone. And Amy tells them that the stone's power could alter anything. If it was close to machinery, it could do dangerous things. And it was only luck that they were able to manage to get it out of Robotnik's hands and stop him once and for all. And, well, yeah, they had to destroy it to make sure nobody could use that power again. But Sonic then asks them, why are we here exactly? All we know is that we destroyed the Time Stone, and then some white hedgehog came in and who had the powers of the Force and tried to destroy us. Walters states that he doesn't know much about the white hedgehog yet, but he is looking into it. He also suggests an idea. If they want to defeat this white hedgehog, they'll have to work with the newly established Team Dark to take down this hedgehog, which Sonic says his name is Silver.